Oi, oi, hello and welcome to another All My Bets video. Yes, you've probably noticed that it is a little bit later than I would usually do. And of course, it's Cheltenham starting this weekend, so you might be wondering where I've been. Well, I've been busy. I told you I was a bit consumed on Twitter not so long ago. But I've got some good news to announce. Well, I think it's good for me anyway. Hopefully you guys will agree. I've actually managed to secure myself a daily written tipping column with Which Bookie. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be working with those guys. I did actually get nominated in the SBC Awards for a few categories. Ranting and Racing that Davin and I started and Jamie and I continued last year was nominated for an award last year in like a podcast category. My betting content videos, I got nominated in there again, and we did see a marked improvement in my score, so appreciate your support on that. But I was also interestingly nominated for Best Free Tipster, which I do really appreciate that, but I don't have an outlet other than the videos I do on here. So I guess I was a bit keen with me changing the work scenario and, you know, the redundancy and now trying to focus on horses and income. I needed to get a daily tipping column, didn't I? So I'm really appreciative of the opportunity I've got with these guys. You would have seen it in the past where I've done lots of written stuff, and a lot of you, especially the OGs, would have preferred my written stuff where you can just click it at your leisure. You can read my thoughts as opposed to having to listen to me waffle for a period of time. And I know in a lot of these videos you say to me, can you put them in the comments or put the selections in the description? So there's just going to be a link in the description to the URL you need to go to. I think they're going to use the same one for each day. It's a daily tips URL where you can see mine and then the other tipsters that are on there's selections as well. So I think it's going to be quite good. You can just bookmark that and then flip in and out of that every single day. Plan for the time being is just to upload the tips at sort of 8 a.m. in the morning, because then prices are available. We know what they are. They're sort of up to date. We marked at the advised prices. I will record to SP and all those types of things as well, but don't know whether we'll be doing it with best odds guaranteed applied, because many of you might not get that. Don't think we would be, but obviously if we're advising the tips about 8 o'clock and you checked in that time of the morning, then you might be able to get some best odds guaranteed with people out there. Anywho, I'll talk in this video about all of Cheltenham because it's Cheltenham, isn't it? And I'll allude to the couple of bets that are going to be on tomorrow's column or are in today's column. Recording this the night before, that's why I've just said tomorrow. But you can go click the link in the description if you want to find out what I've done and what the bets are in there. So I've talked in the past about my staking. Most of you will know me as a £25 a point man. I talked about it in my last video that not to necessarily like to be scaling up or something, but I wanted to just change the fact that I'm probably going to mark myself down now as a £50 a point punter. It's mainly because of the fact that, look, if I have these £25 bets, which I've done in the past, I do fancy them, but you guys will also know that there may be occasions where I might have like a couple of £100 on a horse or maybe a little bit more. And then in terms of like a point relevance, it probably does sit more comfortably to be that it's a 4 or 5 pointer as opposed to me marking it down as a 10 pointer. And then it just means that those £25 a point bets that I have would be half point bets in here. Now, that's not to be any, I'm not saying that my stakes or anything like that to be suggesting that you should be mirroring this or to I don't know, to boast or any of that sort of stuff. I'm just being as honest as I've always have been on this channel. So the points are listed on those columns. And then, not like I say, from that you can sort of work out what my stakes are in there. But obviously the bets that I'm putting in those columns are the ones that I will be striking. We did have the Google Sheet thing before, which was an All My Bets piece. Kind of pointless to have that as well as running the profit and loss on the Which Bookie website. So you better find it out on there. There'll be a continued profit and loss. And yeah, I appreciate your guys' support. If you could, regardless, click those links and have a look at it, because we'll see how it goes. Your feedback on that stuff is really appreciated as well. So if you would prefer seeing it the night before the column, you would prefer it to be at a different time or in a different place, or you would prefer that to be like a history of tips, and so it's not just on the one URL, feed all that stuff back. I can speak to the guys and we can see what we can do. But yeah, we've got a starting point here of Cheltenham's first meeting of the season. So I'm really excited about the opportunity, and I wanted to make sure that you guys still get what I produce for free, because that's the main thing from me. Now, Cheltenham, 6 races that I'm really interested in on the Friday. There's one race that I probably was more interested in before and I'm less interested in now, but we'll just go for each of them and I'll mention the ones that I've bet anyway. So if you don't want to click the link, I mean, why wouldn't you? You can just hear it here, but go click the link anyway, right? So first race is a handicap hurdle. This is a proper mismatch of a race. Look, there's horses in here that I have small affiliations with. American Sniper Anna Benina from good old days, who'll love the ground, and Sam's a horse that I quite like as well. There's just loads of opportunities in here, but it is a fairly weak enough race for like the opener of it, and there's better betting opportunities, which is where I've referred to the 6 races. Although the next race, the Novices Chase, might fall into the category too. Look, she could be anything ran today, so Friday, but yesterday, if you're watching this now, wouldn't have obviously been on the boat to come over. I don't know what they'd be doing about potentially running it so quickly, but you'd imagine she's going to be a non-runner. I would have really fancied Path de Rue regardless of her running the race, and she obviously would have held up a percentage of the market, would have given us a bit of a bet. He was odds against. He would have been the type of bet that would have been a couple of pointers maybe, but given the fact that the race is going to change as it's going to change, I haven't had a play in the race, but I do believe that Path to Real win. And obviously, the smaller the field gets, sometimes the more intricately or more risky those propositions can become. So, yeah, we've left that one as it stands at the moment. The Square in the Air handicap chase is a bet. I think a few of you might be able to predict this one. I'm going for Matata. Loves good ground. Loves Daryl Jacob. Good record fresh. Great record fresh, 2 from 2. Good record in handicaps as well. Just lots and lots to like about this horse. Now, look, I love Sam Twiston-Davies as a jockey, but I do think he was potentially a bit, not too aggressive, is probably like the bad way to say it. It's like he was doing something like bad to the horse, but he is quite forceful, but again, it's not trying to say it in a detrimental way. And in those couple of races that Matata ran at the back end of last season, notably the Arcot as well, where still ran quite well to finish 4th, the horse can be quite keen and kind of wants to get on with stuff, but I think potentially it needs to be able to dictate things, but also get a bit of a breather. Look, it could have just been the company that was keeping it, couldn't do that. This is going to be a bit of a test as well, with horses like Dancing in My Own, Calico, Triple Trade and the likes in there, but I think Matata's been primed for this. Daryl Jacobs last season as well, so they're going to be wanting to get winners. That's not the reason that the partnerships come back intact. I just think it's the right choice. I'm really boastful and confident that Matata will go well. So yeah, Matata's a definite bet in there. The 3 o'clock, the Novices Hurdle. I've got no interest in this one whatsoever. Look, Gail Marler's short. Gail Marler was a bit bigger before. A few people would have bet. And on these conditions and terms and everything, I mean, you'd be very shocked if that horse didn't go and win the race. But as much as I do like to get stuck into a short one, if they're there, I'm leaving that one alone. I've got no interest. It's not because it's the start of the season, but there's just I don't know. There's just going to be better opportunities as the season goes on, I think. But I wouldn't want to put people off backing her if they're that way inclined. Not in no way am I trying to poo-poo the chances. I sort of nearly for betting and wanting to have a go on is in the Amateur Jockeys Handicap Chase. The 335 is strictly a dancer. Was as big as 10s, as short as 6 to 1 now. Thought it was a pretty encouraging run for the horse last time out at Chepstow. Ran nicely with Copperhead. I talked about Copperhead. I thought he'd be a big price in the race. He was a favourite or shortish price, and then ended up winning the race. So that all kind of came out nice enough, I suppose. The horse was only beaten a couple of lengths in this race last year. Admittedly, Gina Andrews was on, not Edward Vaughan. But Edward Vaughan does take off the £7. So, I mean, the weight difference there might be the difference between them running really well. It'd be down to 112 effectively, even though it doesn't quite work out. Some of them aren't necessarily worth their claim. But he is ultimately £2 lower than last year's mark, which saw him a couple of lengths off of Mole Court. So, look, it's a competitive enough race, skinny enough price now as well, and I think relatively well found. So, wouldn't be one that I actually am betting on, but was a very nearly one, I suppose. The Novices Hurdle, the 4:10. 2.5 miles, a nice, interesting trip. Manila Sixo, I hadn't even spotted this because I was trying to just keep away from the race, just watch it and just see how things go. But brother to Brecon Castle, and it full brother as well, this Manila Sixo. So there's lots to like about that. We'll love the ground as well. Gordon Elliott's horse. I know he's gone up against Potter's Charm, but if I had to say that I fancied one of the two more than the other, I would now be saying Manila Sixo because of the Brecon Castle thing. But it's a no-bet type race for me in there. Like, it wouldn't be enough substance to get stuck into that. As I say, there's better opportunities going through the season. But, yeah, an interesting race all the same. And then another bet that we have got is in the Lucky Last. Now, I've written all about this in the column, so you can go read the full depth of the thoughts in there. But I think Oaken Risk for Chris Gordon and Freddie Gordon, top weight in here of 130, has got a proper chance. Now, he's about-ish second favourite in the betting at the moment. Fiercely Proud is the favourite and shortening constantly. 129 the rating for Fiercely Proud. Ben Paul and Callum Pritchard claiming 10. But as much as like I can see that Fiercely Proud might have some mileage in the mark, and obviously the market confidence early on could be quite confident. Ben Pauling said this was a prep for the Greatwood. Ben Pauling's also said in the past that this horse is better suited, or is really suited to flat right-handed tracks. So look, could have been messing about and could have been telling Porky somewhere or another, but I wouldn't even if he said he really fancied this one and it was going well or something, I still think the price that it is way too short. And I know what's happened in the Welsh Champions hurdle, and everyone's probably buying into that a little bit too much. This isn't the same sphere. It's not the same prestige type race. So look, I can imagine the horse could go well, but he's taken up far too much of the market, and I wouldn't want to be getting anywhere near him at the price that he is. Even the 5-2 he was before he got shortened, I thought was a bit skinny. Jill I. Jones, one that I've liked in the past as well. There's a few horses in here that have sort of got some sort of like a bit of an affinity to. But Ocon Risk is a horse that's all about good ground. He's got really good ratings on good ground. Again, I touch on this in the article, so you can go read the full depth of it. But look, he's a former Betfair hurdle winner. He won a Dovecote. I know Fiercely Proud was second at that Dovecote behind Lump Sum, and we can question the ability and the standards and all that sort of stuff. You have got Fiercely Proud that's potentially coming into this season, obviously as a 5-year-old unexposed open season, and should be on the way up. Ocon Risk is on the way down in terms of his rating, but they are similar type horses, but they're running off of similar marks, yet one of the horses has achieved a hell of a lot more. Look, Chris Gordon, Freddie Gordon paired up in this race last year. They with Our Champ. They ran this horse in the same prep race at Plumpton, albeit he didn't win, but it was good to soft, and it was a good run compared to what he'd done at the back end of last season. At least he's answered the question that he's potentially reached the bottom of that downward curve, and we know where he's at, and we know that he's got the potential to run figures of the 140s. Fiercely Proud has got to overcome that Sandown run, which was disappointing, and I know they talked about that as a target, but I don't know. I just see that I'd have as much chance for Ocon Risk as I do Fiercely Proud in this particular race. Yet you can get 13-2 about one of them, and you can get 15-8 about the other. Those prices obviously are correct when I'm recording this the night before. So look, you can get 4 places up for grabs. There's only 12 runners in there, so 6-1-ish top price, 4 places for Ocon Risk. I've had 1 point each way on him. I think he's got a proper chance. I do respect and I do fear Fiercely Proud to a small extent, but it wouldn't go in line with what's been said before. It doesn't really go in line with what I think you would do with a horse if they were suitably well handicapped. He potentially would have opportunities as the season goes on. And I'm not 100% he is as far well in as everyone might think he is. Look, if Ocon Risk runs anywhere near what he's done in the past, Fiercely Proud's going to have to run a stone better than he's done so far, which who knows, he might be capable of that at some point in the season, but I'm betting that Ocon Risk will be able to run better than him first time up, and those extra places as well gives us the concession. So look, I've told you quite a bit in there. As I say, this is a partnership with Wit Bookie, the tipping column. The videos aren't sponsored by them, so we haven't got the old paid sponsorship thing in there, but obviously I'm talking about them, so they'll be in the link in the description. I'll talk about that each time I do these All My Bets videos. I'll put these out and publish them at the time that the article goes live, so you can go click it and read my comments. It doesn't make sense to do it the night before, so you can't see the reasoning behind stuff. As I say, let me know your guys' feedback if there's anything you want to tweak as we do this over the next few days. But look, some real good racing coming up Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm hopeful of going in with a few winners. We'll see how we get on. Be lucky. Obviously, always gamble responsibly. Enjoy your weekends, and I will see you again tomorrow and then again on Sunday.